Okay, where we at? Ha! Woman with a master number, what? Ha! Ha! 38? Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Pow! Ha! Sensei Kwabin here. Woman with the master. Ha! Number 38. Moment with the master, number 38. Now, family, we're in here. After what happened? We was in Harlem Week, Harlem Day festivities all weekend long. All weekend long, celebrated with presentations and a demonstration under our leader, Sifu, Chief Hanshi, Grandmaster Samuel Morris McGee, right? We were there representing, had about 50 strong or so. We was out there. And I learned something being out there again, watching the Grandmaster move through the crowds and coordinate what are the people who are carrying forward his legacy. Let me talk about it. I learned something, and that what I learned or I was reminded about that was punctuated for me in my mind was Sensei Kwabin. Know your role and play your position. Chisa! Right? Know your role and play your position. There's a lot that goes into that, right? We want to be balanced in our perspectives for sure, but know your role and play your position, because it's all about positioning which gets things done. It's where you stand sometimes that determines whether or not you'll be able to do what you need to do. Think about the basketball court, right? They on there, they dribbling top. They got hands. But if they're in position, they got clearing for the shot. And we know that in basketball, it's so important to know what position you play. Know your role, play your position. The worst thing that I've seen is someone who does not know how to play their position in basketball. If you're not trained or taught how to sit in that guard position and dish off, the team is not really going to be that good. If you're at the center, if you can't maneuver and box out and create space and create opportunities for other people, it's not going to be that good, right? If you're a shooting guard but you don't have no real shot, you hitting bangers off the board constantly, team might not really be that good. Or we'll see in the team that others have to compensate for the person who doesn't know how to play their role or know their role and play their position. I know we're getting into it. Family, because here we are in this day and age, 2025, and what is happening is we are being torn apart at the seams by this element or this loss of an awareness of people who know how to know their role and play their position. It is horrible. It is tearing us apart at the seams. As a matter of fact, it has results in derailed movements all the world over. All the world over. Businesses all the world over. Relationships all the world over. Enterprises all the world over. Initiatives all the world over. For a lack of people knowing how to know their role and play their position, right? So I'm looking at Grandmaster Sam again. I'm looking at him do his thing, modeling what a senior sensei does so that his students can pick up and carry forward, knowing our role and playing our position. I'm not the leader out front. I'm part of a bigger story. I'm part of a bigger story that is already planted in the seeds of the grounds of Harlem Goju. I'm a sprout. I'm a tree. I'm a part of a broader legacy. Dominion Dojo is a branch of a broader legacy that brings honor and respect to the root of the tree. Knowing your role and playing your position. Right? Sometimes we see this played out in a relationship between the sensei and the student. Right? Sensei may take the lead role. Should. Right? Student is supportive. Student is in a supportive role. Right? Should. Understanding position. Not one is less important. They're cohesive. They're important. Roles have to be that way. In our society, we see the breakdown of family. We see the breakdown of systems. We see the breakdowns of organizations and enterprises. And oftentimes, this is because the roles are not clearly defined. The roles are not, it's fluid. And it's causing a weakness. It's causing a lack of infrastructure on which we can build anything of substance. That's in people relationships. That's in organizational realities. That's in dojo realities. There has to be clearly defined roles on exactly what we're doing here. Right? We don't stand on pretense. Right? We're not talking about carrying someone's ego, rocking them into a space of, I don't know, elevation and pedestalization, right? No. We're talking about knowing roles and playing the position. I walked up to a sensei this past week and I said, you know what? Senior sensei to me said, listen, whatever you want to do in this area, I support you. I got you, right? Why did I do that? Because I wanted the sensei to know that I know my role and that I'm playing my position. What do you want to do? It doesn't always have to be centered around what we want all the time. Right? There's this infighting and bickering that is tearing and rooting us apart because we don't want to stand in humility and maturity that says, I'm going to allow something to supersede my own self-interest. Knowing our roles and playing our position. This is happening all the world over. Infighting and I don't like this and my ego is boasting me up and bigging me up so that I have to step in and I have to be the victor. Right? There's a syndrome happening with people who can't really get past this type of thing. There's a syndrome that's happening in their mind and their psyche. There's a syndrome. They can't listen to this right here. And if it's you or if it's an issue that is confronting you, then it's time to step back and say, do I need to reevaluate what position I'm taking? Do I need to reevaluate what ability I have to check my position, check myself, and see if I'm in the right role so that I could be exercising the right position? We all need to do this. Each of us has this personal challenge. You know, one test of the matter is if we look at ourselves and we say, can I play a role for somebody else's benefit? Can I do it in a way that I know the ultimate benefit is going to be to someone else's outcome? Can I position myself? Or in my heart of hearts, am I always going to be jockeying for that top spot? Am I always going to be moving in a way to position myself in elevation over others? Am I always going to be talking out the side of my mouth, like thinking, hey, what could I do to slide in there? Knowing our role and playing our position. You know, let somebody else be centered. Have we considered it? Let someone else get credit. Have we thought about it? Right? We need role players, not necessarily main characters all the time. Sometimes it's appropriate. Sometimes we need to stand up. Sometimes we need to step in. Sometimes we need to hold the ground. But sometimes we need to be a role player and not the main character. Right? I think about what has happened in our society, in our world. As a matter of fact, you want to know what? The whole civil rights movement could possibly have been marred by this idea of what I'm going to call main character syndrome. Right? Dr. Martin Luther King did great things. Sure, he's notable for the ideas and the virtues and the values and the sacrifices and the movements and the initiatives that he put himself out in the forefront for. Definitely. Solid. Respect. Now, what has happened as a result of that, it translated into the psyche of a people and a generation where we have had to come to terms with something I'm going to call main character syndrome. Ever since then, we want to be the top dog. Ever since then, we want to be the main person. Ever since then, we want to call the shots. Ever since then, we want to be the HNIC. Main character syndrome. So we evaluate what we're doing. Go home, evaluate. Sometimes I sit home and I'll be like, Sensei Kwabin, off, move over, slip left, come on, pull this in, pull that out, pause, right? I'm talking about how we position ourselves based on our awareness of the roles that we carry. Us, that main character syndrome is a disability. And what it is really a reflection of the disability we have at seeing ourselves for who we are. We walk around kind of like with closed eyes, right? Or we're like the main character in the play or the script of a movie that we've written. And we're writing the script and we're playing the character in it. We're actually living to a script that we have made, which is sort of like a self-directed movie. And if anything moves us outside of that script, if anything challenges that awareness, if anything pushes us to the side or opens our eyes a little bit to what we're doing, what's going on, we have a defense. Because we cannot bear through our disability to see ourselves for exactly who we are. Can we stand to take ourselves out of the center of the measure? Or is it too painful? Are we still in hiding? Still in hiding from ourselves? Still in hiding because we really don't want to say that there are some measures of us that can be accelerated, that can be improved, that can be guided, that we could use some assistance with, right? First, we have to humble ourselves in order for this awareness to sink into the resonance of our being. Listen, we're in a world where other stories may matter more. Somebody else's story may matter more. Grandmaster Sam McGee's story, in my estimation, matters more. I'm looking at what he has already established in terms of his person as a sensei, as a man, and as a community elder. And I'm looking to support the resonance or the heighten or the elevation of that story. So I'm here, Sensei Kwabin, Moment with the Master. And here's a secret. Taking ourselves out the center. Taking Sensei Kwabin out the center. Here's a secret. This Moment with the Master stuff, you want to know what? You want to know what it is a result of? This Moment with the Master stuff is a result of Grandmaster Sam McGee at the end of every dojo class session. They're just about taking 5 minutes. Class, stand in Moso. Meditation, chisa, quiet. Empty your mind of all thoughts. Listen to your heartbeat. Sink into the essence of your being and listen to the Master speak. 5 minutes. Grandmaster Sam McGee would do that class after class after class. Now I'm feeding back what he has poured in over so much time, and that I have through life and experience and exercise and awareness and observation cultivated and moved and let it flip over in terms of my own personal understanding. You know, sometimes our best play in life is to accept our role in somebody else's story. That's a big person. Sometimes our best play in life is to accept our role in somebody else's story. That's a big person. Let their story take center stage. What's the bigger story? Yeah, I got a story. Yes, I got a story. Yes, I got a pretty dynamic story. If you ask me, maybe I'll share it one day. But the bigger story is what calls the majority of the attention in the moment. There's a bigger story. There's a bigger element than me right now. If we look at it and we evaluate and we look at ourselves and, you know, we all self-evaluate. And listen, I'm not asking anybody to be too hard on yourselves. I'm not saying that everything that's wrong is on your back. I'm just saying look at ourselves clearly. Things may not be going so well. Look at ourselves clearly. We may not be finding balance. Look at ourselves clearly. We may not be finding progress or movement. Traction, I think they call it. Look at ourselves clearly, right? We may not be in position or our role may not be adequately defined. So here's 3 roles, here's 3 things, here's 3 behaviors that might help us along this journey. And listen, this is part 1. Know your role, play your position. Part 2 is coming after the break, after Labor Day weekend, after Sensei Kwabin takes a week off, after I regenerate, after I renew, after I go and reflect on knowing my role. Coming back with Play Your Position Part 2. Okay, but here's 3 behaviors that might help. Get clarity on your purpose and on exactly who you are. Get clarity on that. Good, bad, and indifferent. Don't share it with anybody. Get clarity for your own benefit. I know, but I'm not going and blabbering it all out there. No need. Sensei Kwabin, what do you struggle with? None of your business. Yeah, we all have, because we're human. But get clarity, own up to it, open the eyes, and deal with the reflection and the resonance of exactly what comes back up. Number 2, practice the exercise of seeing and being outside of ourselves. Meaning that we are not seated only in what our experience is, but that we can put ourselves in position. Oh, we're going to talk about that next time. Empathetically speaking, empathy, so that we can be in awareness and have a grasp of what others are experiencing. Oh yeah, Grandmaster Sam McGee did that this weekend. Homeless man, laying across the ground. We're there in our geese, on the Harlem streets, about to mesmerize crowds. Homeless man laying on the ground. What would have been a natural thing is to be caught up in the element of the 50 people gathering there, coordinating to begin to prepare to do a martial arts presentation. But the Grandmaster went over, not vibing into the crowd, so to speak, in the moment, but took time to go over and not just check the homeless man, but look in on him. Hey, you laying there, man. Come on, get up here. Sit down here. The homeless man's like, I'm all right. He's like, since I was like, but listen. He gave him a couple of words of wisdom, a couple of words of encouragement. Took his time aside to pay attention to someone else. He saw outside of himself and was empathetic for the moment. Empathetic for the moment. Right? Number 3, and then I'm out of here. Right? Show gratefulness for all the great things that we have. Show gratefulness for the measures of grace that we have. Show gratefulness for the measures of provision that we have. Show gratefulness for the measures of health that we have. Show gratefulness for the levels of understanding that we have. Show gratefulness for the levels of love that we have. Show gratefulness for the measures of people that we have positively in our universe. Show gratefulness. Get clarity, see outside, and show gratefulness. 3 roles. Man, listen, this is magnificent. This is magnificent that we get to sit and look at the idea of roles and position and understand how this impacts how we show up in the world. So Sensei Kwabin always tells you, keep the magic of your greatness strong and the music of your greatness alive. And never let anyone sow seeds of doubt in your garden of greatness. This is Sensei Kwabin, your beneficial sensei, Moment with the Master. I think this is number 38. I think it's 38. We going strong. All I gotta say is, I'll be back after Labor Day. Give Sensei Kwabin a break. Love you, and we'll see you on the other side. Right now, I'm up out of here. Chisa! Us!